Go ahead. Okay. Thank you, Leanne, for that. So I just wanted to welcome everybody here tonight. My name is Jeanette, and we are going to have my friend Steve here teach a class for us on just all of the different room sprays. Well, I should say all the different ones, some of the different room spray options that are available. Steve is also the owner of Your Oil Tools. So I'm excited that he's doing this for us. So thank you, Steve, and I will let you get started. So thanks, Steve.
Okay. So when I was trying to think about what to do that's different, I wanted to give you something that you may not have thought about when it comes to room sprays. So I want to share my screen because I actually created you a PowerPoint presentation for this so that we could make it so you can understand the steps. Now, the reason that I think it's important for you to see this first is because a lot of people, can you see my screen? Yep. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So a lot of people, when it comes to building a room spray or making a room spray, they just add water, put oils in there. Now, I want to tell you why you can do it so much better and the reasons behind it. So the first thing that I got for you here. So what we're going to talk about, I'm going to break you through how to make it. And then I'm going to talk you through some of the easy room sprays that we have. I'm also going to give you a free download that you can look at and you can make some of these room sprays that we've created. But I'm going to also talk to you about how you can utilize a lot of the roller bottle recipes that you'll find, like Danielle's. I'm going to give for an example. Danielle's roller bottle recipes can be turned into a great room spray. So by just changing some of the things, you can actually turn some of these other recipes into it. Even diffuser recipes. Like if you see a good diffuser recipe online, you can turn it into a really good room spray. Then I'm going to talk about our scents of the seasons. I'm going to give you some of the oils and different things that we use in those recipes and why they're so awesome. And then I will also, like I said, give you the free download for it. So to get started, now when it comes to building a room spray, making a good room spray, the first thing you always need is the bottles. Now, I always recommend glass bottles. Now, these recipes that I'm going to walk you through are going to be based on 2-ounce recipes or 2-ounce bottles or 60 ml if you need the conversion. So with this, you're going to need your oils, you're going to need water, and you're going to have optional. You can do the witch hazel, you can go without. But I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of the witch hazel. I mean, obviously, if you Google it, you're going to find that it's antimicrobial, it's antibacterial. So it's going to sanitize and it's going to clean the air a little bit more than just the essential oils. So there is an added value to it. And that's why I always recommend the alcohol-free witch hazel. The reason that I say that is if you're going to make a pillow spray or something that's in your room, a lot of people can have skin irritations for the alcohol-based witch hazel. So I would recommend trying that. A lot of the witch hazels you'll find online don't actually have a high alcohol content. It's just some of them you can find do actually have it. So with that water, I recommend distilled water. And the reason that I recommend distilled water is it's distilled, so it's already lighter. So it actually does spread a little bit better. And the droplets from the mist actually spread a lot finer. Now, that's very important when it comes to making something that's going to be fragrant so that you can smell it better. You can still use tap water if that's all you have, but I just recommend the distilled water just so that it's a lot better for you. Okay, so now there's a big thing about just putting the oils in the bottle and not washing out the bottles ahead of time or even warming them up or sanitizing them. Now, bottles are heated at 2000 degrees and then thrown in water and then put in a box or shrink wrap. So there's a lot of extra residue that's going to be on those bottles. And what that can do is that can actually make it not smell great. So when you put your ingredients in those bottles, I always recommend that you rinse them and clean them out just to make sure that they're good. So the next thing you're going to need is you're going to need your oils. And then I always recommend you put the oils in first so that it kind of, when you add the liquids in there and the water and the witch hazel, it already mixes it up for you. It's kind of like a little bit skip ahead for steps for you. And then tighten your spray top and then you're ready to spray. Now, obviously, I've been joking a little bit here with some of my text if you're reading it. Just trying to keep you engaged and paying attention. So now as we go, I'd love for you to post any comments, like things like that. I'm going to go into the room sprays specifically and different recipes. So if you want to change these recipes, I'm listening. So if you would add to it or take away from it, we'll go with that. All right, next one. So, all right. So what I did is I pulled up our easy room sprays recipe. Now I wanted to start here. These are some great recipes to get started with the room spray. But now you'll look at the recipes here and you'll see that they're under 20 drops. if you go online, a lot of room sprays utilize like 30 drops, 40 drops. Like you'll see a lot of different stuff online, and you wonder why that's so much. It's because they don't smell as good. They don't smell as good because they don't add the witch hazel. So if you're using water, you're going to have to add more oils. The witch hazel adds kind of like an emulsifier where it basically spreads and makes the fragrance that much more. So when you go online or you see other recipes, they might have a lot more oils in them than other ones, and that's because they're just using a water base. So with that, the first one I have is this warm winter chai. So when you take these, you can put it in water, you can drink it, things like that, you know, the oils. But then when you put this in a diffuser, all of our recipes, we've designed it. We based it off our diffuser blends so you can see how it smells. So that's why the room sprays transition so well, because the diffuser, if they do well in a diffuser, they're going to do well in a room spray, basically. So if you have a blend that you really like or something that you've created, you can also turn it into a room spray by just doing these simple things, by adding the water, adding the witch hazel. And again, any questions in the chat? So we really like this one at the shop because the peppermint stick is actually a really good bathroom spray. I'll be honest with you. It's nice and sweet, but the mojito one, the spearmint in there, that's really fresh. It's one of our customers, actually, we were diffusing it one time, and she said, why don't you add wild orange in there and make it a little bit more of a fragrance, like sweet, and because it is a pungent. Spearmint can be very powerful which is a good thing, but if you wanted to kind of freshen it up a little bit differently. And that's that. Again, I was hoping for some questions. Anybody have any comments or anything? Add in the chat.
Well, I have a comment.
Okay.
I just am looking at the one that you said, peppermint stick, just as a bathroom spray. Anything that is minty like that or eucalyptus, if you sprayed in the toilet before you use the restroom, it actually gets rid of that smell so it doesn't stink. So just throwing it out there. Anyway, someone else was going to say something as well.
Do you prefer spearmint or peppermint?
Steve, I have a question. So
Yeah.
Letitia and I last year, we made room sprays to sell at vendor events. And one thing we were noticing, and I don't know if it's inevitable or if we just weren't using enough witch hazel or what, but we were definitely noticing, the oil was sitting at the top of the water. But
Yes.
we did put witch hazel in there. Is that because we didn't use enough witch hazel, or is it just you have to just always shake it? Is that enough?
So that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of the recipes that you see here, and the reason that I say 1 tablespoon versus a lot of other recipes call for 50-50 consistency, where you do half witch hazel, half water, and that gets a little bit overpowering. It does separate, so like when you look at the bottle, you'll see half and half. That's why I only say a little bit. But the oils have a lot to play with it. So do you remember any of the oils you might have used in those sprays?
I know they were from the Christmas one that you did.
Okay.
Letitia, do you remember? Gingerbread, I think, was one of them.
Okay. Because I know cinnamon and then also some cedar woods and different things like that they won't spread as well. You'll have to shake it before use, obviously, which is recommended anyways. But it does sit up the top because those oils kind of, regardless of what you do, they're gonna separate.
So some are gonna separate all of those. Okay.
But what I was gonna say, that's where, again, were you using an alcohol-based witch hazel or a non-alcohol-based witch hazel?
I don't remember. I might have at the beginning used just whatever I had on hand, but I've since gotten the organic, kinds. I'm assuming that's non-alcohol. I didn't even realize there was an alcohol versus non-alcohol witch hazel. Okay.
Yeah, because the alcohol one smells a little bit more pungent too. So like when you go to spray it, you'll smell that in the air a lot more versus the alcohol-based or the non-alcohol-based one. The thing is the alcohol-based ones separate. It makes the oil separate a lot more. So you'll see that too, like in the hand sanitizers, when you put whatever it is, whatever you use in hand sanitizer. Back in the day, it was the rubbing alcohol. You put rubbing alcohol in there, and you see the oils just separating on the top. It's the same idea.
Yeah, when you said don't use alcohol base, I thought you were talking about rubbing alcohol. I didn't even realize you're talking about witch hazel, and that there was a non-alcohol.
No.
Versions. Okay.
I like witch hazel so much better just because it's natural properties.
No, yeah, for sure.
It helps a lot more. So with that, I will go to the next slide here. And what I did is, so Danielle's stuff, I love it, right? Like it's really good when it comes to brain health and all this different things that she does with her stuff. But this Mind's End blend, is something that we tried this, an experiment in the shop. We started diffusing this in the retail store just to see if people would, when they came in, and they would be happier. And because Danielle said in one of her presentations that it's the one for basically making people think better. And so we're like, okay, let's see how people go. And then we did the same thing. We made it a room spray in the bathroom. We did a bunch of different things with it. And what we realized is actually people were happier. Like when we were using that at the office before, like I'd walk through the warehouse and spray it 5 or 6 times and then walk out when they were at lunch. And the total atmosphere changed, like the attitudes changed, like people were happier with this spray. Again, it's designed for a roller bottle blend, so I wouldn't recommend I could recommend it also for the roller bottle blend. It's in this book that's in the picture. This is where it came from specifically, but you can turn it directly into the spray. You can do, like I said, if you've got another recipe that you really like, you can turn it into room spray also. And then the last one I want to go to quickly. And now you talked about the Christmas one. Is this the one of the ones on here, I'm guessing? The gingerbread?
That's exactly it. Yeah, so we did Grandma's eggnog, gingerbread house, peppermint stick, and I think I did actually one of the ones on the back and made it into a spray.
I think, you know what, we did a few of those, but I honestly think that we had the alcohol base, and that's maybe why, because I did not know there's a non-alcohol based witch hazel.
Mm-hmm.
So that could maybe be the reason. I'll try it next time.
Sorry, I see the comment in here about I never use witch hazel. I use a pinch of real salt to keep it emulsified and never separates, which is actually good. But the difference with the salt is it actually will destroy it will degrade your oils, and it will degrade your scent. So over time, one of the good things about witch hazel is actually the shelf life is extended of the scent. So basically what it does is emulsifying it the way it does. You can actually set that in your room for 6 months, 3 months, and come back to it, and it'll still smell good. Where water will just dilute, and then other things like that will also dilute. Salt is actually, I would recommend, if you're going to do salt, do pink salt. Himalayan pink salt will actually emulsify, and it won't break down, where a basic like table salt will actually break it down. And I don't know if you use pink salt specifically, but if you want to go that direction.
Yeah, no, Steve, I always just use that, real salt in the blue jug or the Himalayan, but I get the ground real salt because I add it to my coffee and my water every day too. So that's what I use. Yeah.
Yeah, so that the salt, again, there's a lot of people that use that in room sprays. The other thing that I don't like about salt is that the stainless steel parts inside of the sprayer, they do break down. And what ends up happening is salt and things like alcohol doesn't do it so much because it is a lot different design, but the salt will break the sprays down over time too. So my favorite, I want to say, if you're looking at these room sprays that you have in front of you now, I would say my 2 favorite ones currently are the Sleigh Ride one. We were diffusing that for a while. Now, the reason I like that one is the Ylang-ylang adds a floral smell to it, but it's got the woodiness of it. But then the Clary Sage does give it a pungent smell. So like the balance is very, very bright and happy. And then if you wanted something that's a little bit more on the other side, I would say something with the winter spice, with the peppermint and the orange and the clove. You can substitute that also for spearmint instead of that. So with the spearmint, though, what I would say is probably dilute it down to 3 drops if you're going to change it out instead of 5, because it is a little bit more of a thicker smell. So Amber, what was any of these ones that you've tried that you liked the best? Because you guys
I
made
was
this?
sticking, since we were selling it and we weren't sure how it was going, we were kind of sticking with the ones with the least expensive oils. So I know we did peppermint stick, that was nice. Flannel, I got a lot of people really like flannel. I think that was the one that I sold out of first.
Flannel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that one's actually, it's funny because that recipe actually came from one of our customers that was in the store. She came in and gave us her favorite Christmas one. We actually did a Facebook post years ago asking customers for their favorite recipes, and then we converted those recipes into kit stuff. So, that's why I always say, you give me ideas, sometimes they might end up being our next DIY project. So
cool. Yeah, then we did, the Grandma's eggnog, we did that. I like that one. That was a very specific smell, obviously, but I did like that one too.
Okay, so Yeah, the question is substitute peppermint versus supermint. So we tried to do supermint in one of the last recipes that we did, or one of the diffuser recipes. We were trying to see how it balances. It is very potent when it comes to adding it. So I'd say if you're going to try that, maybe start with like 1 to 2 drops, because it is going to overpower the whole fragrance, if that makes sense. We actually balanced. We did 1 drop of that to 5 drops of another. We did like cinnamon. When I was trying it at the shop, it was cinnamon and orange, I think, with the supermint, and you smelled the supermint. Like it was literally overpowering over everything else. So I'd say with that, you just want to make sure you try it. Start small if you're going to substitute something like that. The this kit here that we have, we just created this on the website, so you actually can see that there's it comes with the recipes, all the bottles, comes with the funnels and the witch hazel. And if you use the code holiday1 on our website, you'll get 15% off of that product or any of the DIY projects. So we added that today. That'll be good for another week. But the reason that we added that kit is we had so many emails asking for like a festive bottle. So we have the green bottles we brought in so that you could have something that's a little bit prettier and brighter. When you were doing the room sprays before, when you were selling them, was there anything specific that you noticed that people said about them when you were spraying them? Is it like, this is like the holidays,
No,
really
nobody really said much about them, honestly. And one of the things I did find was helpful though, so people weren't spraying it, is I took some little sample vials and I made some samples of each so people could just get the idea of what it smelled like. Obviously it was not diluted, but I did that so people could kind of get an idea of the sense instead of having a bunch of testers and things like that. But yeah, I didn't really necessarily have any. I don't know about you, Letitia. I know Letitia was selling them too. I don't know if you had any. Like I said, I know people, and actually it was Snuggle and Flannel, or maybe it was one of the. Yeah, I don't remember which one. I know I did Snuggle, and I think those were both really well received. I don't think I put the myrrh in the Snuggle.
So if you want a really potent room spray, you could double the recipe. We just do it very like smaller, just so that you could be able to get started. Let's say. We always go on the side of, you can always double it, do more. You don't want to overpower it. So
sure.
The other thing that I would say to that is, the witch hazel, you can add more of that too if you want to extend the smell. Like the bathroom sprays, I'd probably double the do 2 tablespoons of that, just because of the fact that it would be a little bit more potent. And like I said in the beginning, it is a very much it purifies the air. So I want to go back. Was there any questions, or does everybody feel like they understand what I mean here when I'm saying the process? Again, it's not hard. Building a room spray is not hard. I'm just giving you all the thought processes when it goes through.
So I understand the way that you're recommending it is get your glass bottle, add whatever the oils are, which I pretty much double all of those and then some, because that's how I like it. I like it really strong. And then you add either witch hazel, which will make it last longer, or salt, which is not preferred because it could hurt the bottle or the sprayer, and the witch hazel actually makes it last longer. Is that correct?
Yeah, the
and
witch
then
hazel
distilled water.
Yep, recommend distilled water.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. Yep. Thank you.
I see, is there a certain brand for non-alcoholic witch hazel? Yes, there is actually an amazing brand right on youroiltools.com. If you go
Which
to our
is
website,
why I asked Steve beforehand. I'm like, can you give everyone a free like a coupon or something? And he's like, Jeanette, I already got it for your team. So thank you, Steve, for that. Where's the code at, by the way?
The code is, whoops, I went too far.
It was 15.
Right there. Holiday 1.
Holiday 1.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna write that into the chat here.
Holiday 1. And then also, so I have this link here. I'll pop it in the chat. Let's copy. Whoops. I was gonna open it, but I can't. Let's escape. Yeah, we start. Can you still see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it, but you're back at the start. Yeah.
Got it. Let's go back here. Okay, so if you go to Your Oil Tools /free, I was going to try to pull it up, but it messed up my screen. So on this is a holiday recipes guide that we created. It's got diffuser recipes. It's got some food stuff that one of the chefs that we worked with to create some of our books, she actually put some food recipes in there and some different things to work with. But with that whole holiday recipes guide, there's everything from food to room sprays to all of it. But if you go to that link there, you can download it for free. see this. My other one is not coming. So has anybody else used any of our room sprays before, or any of our products that we sell for room sprays besides the Christmas ones or the holiday ones? Nope. Let me see. Chat. I want to go back.
They're different than the 12 sprays of Christmas, right, Steve? Because I've always done those ones. Okay.
Yeah, so the 12 sprays of Christmas one is no longer made. It's no longer available. So it's EO Tools no longer has it. So we just did the 10 recipes because we felt like 10 was enough. And that's the 12 or the seasonal sprays. On the back of our recipe, we actually do the diffuser recipes that we created to go with the sprays. Because so again, I'm going to jump into another topic a little bit when it comes to these, because every one of these recipes that you can find for these, you can literally take them and turn them into diffuser recipes. But what I recommend is if you're going to do it as a room spray, you can use it the same one, because what ends up happening is if you created if you had your diffuser doing a whole different recipe and then you did a room spray, you're going to have a weird scent. It's going to be like a fighting against each other. So I'd recommend that if you're going to do something in your room and you run a diffuser, try to put some of the same oils in there so it doesn't fight against it. Because I'll tell you, when you mix some of the things that don't blend well together, you'll notice it, and